Dear friends, I'm very happy to be with you this morning, and I thank you for giving me the opportunity to address you. Peter already explained a little bit of what I am doing. I am a religious sister of the Order of Jesus and Mary, an international order, basically an order reserved to teaching. 25 years ago, when I came to Bombay, I felt a special call to meet the needs of the street children, the slum children, the children of domestic servants who never got an opportunity to enter a private English medium school. The public schools are free, but the education is given in a very limited way. So I tried on my own to do something. I went out into the garden next to the convent, and I saw a whole lot of children playing there. The shoeshine boys, girls selling flowers, and many others who were trying to make a living. When I approached them and asked them if they'd like to go to school, they said, "Yes, sister, but they won't allow us to enter your schools. They are only for the rich, and we have no money." So I said, "Supposing I found the money for you, would you come to school?" They said, "Yes. Please teach us English and we'll try our best to make it to school." So I started with 20 children under a tree. I taught them English, and then I started teaching them the fundamentals of basic education needed to enter a school. At the first year, out of the 6 children that tried the entrance test, 2 of them succeeded. That meant I had to find people to pay their fees. I had to put them into school uniforms, dress them up, give them shoes, a school bag, a lunch box, and everything that the child took to a private school. But I managed. And when the others saw that these children were actually going to English medium schools, they all wanted to go. So I told them, "Now you have to work very hard because I have to find sponsors for you." It was at that time that Philippa Merchant, an Australian from Melbourne, visited the school. She had a parcel to deliver from my sister who was teaching with her. When Philippa saw my work and she heard my story, she said, "Sister, when I go back to Australia, I'll find you sponsors." So the sponsorship program began in your country, and our first sponsors were Australian, and among them was Peter Clement's father. But the children found a unique way of finding their own sponsors. They said, "Sister, don't worry. We'll bring our own aunties and uncles who will pay our fees." I didn't take them seriously, but they did. They would stand outside 5-star hotels, and as a gentleman emerged or a lady, especially the Europeans, they would get hold of their hand and say, "Will you be my uncle? Will you be my auntie?" And they say, "Yes, but what does it mean to be your uncle or auntie?" And they said, you come with us and meet sister. She will tell you all about it." So they would bring these people to me and they said, "Sister, is it true that if I become his uncle or I become her auntie, that she can go to school and she can enter one of these big schools in the area?" I said, "It is true. And we'd like to do that, sister." And so we had people from all over Europe. And among them was a German gentleman, a very rich businessman, who came and said, I will educate Mahendra, sister, but I'd like to do more for you, because I see you have nothing. So I said, what is your need? I said, we call him Uncle J now. His name is Jürgen Fikes. So I said, Uncle J, the children cannot get to school because there's no transport. They can't afford the buses. They can't walk miles to school. So what we need is a bus. And I was so surprised when he said, sister, come, let's go and buy one. So off we went and we bought a minibus, a 50-seater. And then I put his name on the bus. I said, donated to Prem Dan. Prem Dan is our organization. It means a gift of love. Donated to Prem Dan by Uncle Jürgen Fikes of Germany. And so Uncle J's bus went all over Bombay, collecting the children and bringing them to the different schools. But I also saw that no child could study with an empty stomach. They needed food. So my program always includes education and nutrition. I gave them a breakfast and I gave them lunch. And when they started going to schools, I arranged for lunch to be sent to the schools so that they would be well prepared to do a day's work. And the next need that I saw was that if they went home after school, there was nobody at home to help them with their homework. So we brought them back to 3 centers, and I went to the St. Xavier's College and other institutions and said, would you like to be volunteers and come and teach my children? So we had 3 centers where they came, they did their homework, and then the buses took them home. So we have now 800 children going to recognized schools. Many of them have finished school, they went to college, and many are working. We have lots of successful stories, but there's no time for them. I'll tell you one. We had a shoeshine boy who told me, sister, I want to go to America, and I want to be a doctor. So I said, I'll try my best. So I went to an adoption agency and asked them if Murgesh could be adopted in the States. He was already 13. But we found not a family, but a priest, an Armenian priest, who adopted him. So Murgesh went to the States. He studied very hard. At first he tried his hand at business. He bought a hotel. He earned a lot of money. He saved it. And then he applied to Howard Dental College, Washington, and got admission. And the best part of the story is that he came back to India and he said, I won't marry an American sister. I'm coming back to marry one of my girlfriends from Prem Dan. And so we had our first Prem Dan wedding. But there's also a sad side to the story. There are children in the slums, pavements, and etc., who are in mortal danger. And I had one such case of a girl who was brought to me at the age of 10, already pregnant. So I began to think, well, my work won't be complete unless I can take the girls away from home, those who are in mortal danger, who need support. I should take them and give them a place of safety. And so I began dreaming of boarding. I collected money, the sponsors helped me, and the land that was given to me, surprisingly, was by a gentleman by the name of Ramesh Kumar, who is today in Melbourne. When I went to him, I said, Ramesh, I have a dream. He said, what is it, sister? I said, I need land, and since this land was subsidized by government, it was available for social service at a lower price. So he offered this to me, and with the help of the sponsors, I bought this bit of land, and we started the building. When the building was almost ready, I felt that it would not be complete unless I had a hostel. So I went back to him and I said, Ramesh, could I have another plot? He said, yes, sister, you better do it quickly because I'm leaving for Australia next week. So he hurried the paperwork and that was done. And believe me, when I came here this month, I spent 5 days with his family in Melbourne. They're well settled now. So I think God works in amazing ways. So we built this boarding, houses 50 girls, and they are safe and happy. But I felt that when they finished school and went to college, I couldn't turn them out. So then came the hostel for another 40 girls. Then there's a category of girls whom we could not do anything for because they couldn't study. These are the school dropouts. So I said, I can't let them go back to the streets. So we started a vocational training center for them with computer classes, domestic science, home science, and tailoring. They will get diplomas and then they can start work. So that was our second project. An interesting story about the second building is that our dance teacher was very fond of this project and so were her children in the States. So when she died, her son came down to India. He sold her flat and everything in it and gave me the money to build the second hostel. And we named this after her. It's called the Satyavati Gopalan Hostel and Vocational Training Center. So a lot of people are helping. We have 800 sponsors today in Italy, France, Germany, England, Ireland, Switzerland, many countries. And of course, you Australians were the first. So today I'm here to say my big thank you to you, and especially to Peter Clements and to Philippa Merchant who made this trip to Australia possible. I thank each one of you for giving me the time to listen to me. I have lots of stories, but there's no time. Thank you, and God bless each one of you.